So before I start with today's class, there is one small announcement. Not exactly announcement, but a suggestion that when you write your final report for your project, so as I already said in the beginning of this semester, that how do we learn scientific writing? We learn scientific writing by reading scientific writings. There is no way it can be taught in a classroom. There are no fixed rules. Okay. But always when you write anything, try to think how a reader thinks. Okay. If you carefully would have observed the way I explained the concepts of random process or probability, my always emphasis has been that it should be very simple to the maximum possible elementary level, so that even a person who is a newcomer or not with very strong background of mathematics can understand. So same thought process needs to be applied while writing a report. Those who want to build their career in the field of academics or mass communication or media, even those who want to become actors, politicians, okay, or influencers, the world is going towards the better style and effective style of communication. Okay. But if someone who wants to just become, even if you want to go in the marketing stream or impressing the judges of Shark Tank, right? Up to some extent it depends upon how you present yourself. So sooner or later, whether you agree or not, only one thing will make the difference between the successful and unsuccessful person is the way you present it. The written presentation, the verbal presentation, or any kind of presentation. Even the presentation of your attitude, how you speak, how you talk, what you talk. So it is very much important to always think about the audience whom you want to convey or convince the subject. So recently, see, it always feels bad when you think, okay, you have written something in the report, but the marks are not as per your expectations, or why I am not able to. The thing is, these things don't come in one single night. These things come with lot of patience, endurance, hard work, perseverance. You have to read, correct. This is an infinite loop. Just like for converging the probabilities, you need to have how many samples? Sometimes thousands, sometimes millions of samples, right? Scientific writing is the similar thing. You have to read, you have to write. If I have to rewrite my PhD thesis today, I will completely scrap my original thesis and I will write completely, because since I defended my PhD thesis, my experience has grown up. I learned so many things. I'm learning every day. The writing is getting mature every day. But somewhere it has to start. And starting is always painful. So rather than being a crybaby and being, okay, yaar, मुझसे क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? These are not the signs of a mature learner. Okay, a mature learner laughs at his or her critics. अच्छा, मैंने ये गलती की यार, मैं इतना बेवकूफ़ हो सकता हूँ तो चलो अगली बार ट्राई करता हूँ. If you have that kind of attitude, no one in this world can stop you from becoming a success. No one. But if you have the attitude, how he can criticize me? I am no less than a Nobel laureate, but he is not able to understand me. Okay, I'll fight back. This is a very negative attitude, and I'm not saying that anyone has that kind of attitude, but if in your subconscious mind that kind of attitude comes sometimes and hits you sometime, please stop yourself. Tell yourself the reality that this world is full of so many mind-blowing, successful, intelligent people. Okay? I do not stand anywhere. Only thing that I can do, I can learn each and every day. Okay? So that thing I wanted to convey. Now I'm going to start with the first example. So I hope now all of you have your MATLAB code with you. You brought your laptops, right? You don't have laptop? Okay. So now you can open your laptop. You can open the first code. The three random variables. First, I will explain the question. Then we will start working on the MATLAB code. The three random variables x1, x2 and x3 are statistically independent. Means they are not coming from a joint distribution. All three variables are individually log normal. x1 is log normal, x2 is log normal, x3 is log normal. With respective means 500, 600 and 700. The mean of x1 is 500, mean of x2 is 600 and mean of x3 is 700. And respective coefficient of variations 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. So you can calculate the standard deviation very easily, right? Now let us see what is the question. The question is, what would be the probability distribution of their sum? What would be the probability distribution of their sum? This is the question that we need to solve using the Monte Carlo simulation. Now I will open the code. So you can open 6.1. You can see my screen? Okay, very good. Okay, so now you can see the code. I will go through line by line. Okay, so there are some specific commands which are for MATLAB, but I am not here to teach the MATLAB. Okay, so I will basically explain you the pseudocode, the algorithm that has been used, and one person can implement in MATLAB, R, Python or Java, whatever you know, C, C++. Okay, the pseudocode is going to remain the same. Syntax may change, command lines may change, but that does not make much difference. So this is just to clear the files, so I'm not going to discuss this. So we come directly to this one. So when I click here, so this is going to be in that. So I made in section wise. So we can run section by section also. So the first part of the code says description, characterization of the random variable. There are three random variables x1, x2 and x3. All of them are log normally distributed, and the input data that has been given in this particular code is mx1, cvx1. So mx1 represents the mean of x1, cvx1 represents the COV of x1. So we have taken these values directly from the question. So as you can see here, so what I will do, I will run section by section also. So I am running the first section. First section is run. Now I am running second section. So now all the input data that was given in the question has been given to the program. Evaluation of the parameters of the log normal distribution. So here you see some equations. So for example, if you see the first equation, what does it write? Can someone read for me? Zx1 equal to square root of log
1 plus vector 1 plus covariance
covariance square x1, right? So what is this zx1? What is this z? From where this is coming? This is coming from the distribution of log normal parameters, right? So you have that equation. What was the equation? Can someone remind me from the notes? There were parameters lambda and zeta. So zeta was square root of right? This was the equation 9. So I have written the same equation. Why I have written? Because we know that it is a log normal distribution. So once you are given the distribution, the first task is to define the distribution. So now I got the parameter zeta, and there is another parameter. What is that parameter? And how do you get the lambda from that mean and delta? See in the, no, not see in the code, see in your notes. Mu upon
e raised to power minus 8.5.
Is it correct? यही है. Right? Here should be log. I think it is wrong in your notes, right? So see, it was wrong in the notes. So now if you see in this code, LX1 is lambda x1. I have written as log of mx1 minus 0.5 zx1 square, correct? So in this step what I am doing, I am evaluating the parameters of the log normal distribution of x1, x2, x3. Now I am going to run this section. So this section is already run. Now here we can cross check. We can cross check here the values of, what is the value of zx1? 0.4724. So this is zeta of x1, and 6.10 is lambda of x1. So now we know that x1 is log normally distributed with parameters. First parameter is lambda. Lambda is how much? 6 point. And zeta is 0. Okay. Similarly, we can check for x2. You can keep doing with me. Means I have given the code so that you can parallelly work on this. Just don't see. Okay. LX2. And you can, if you want, you can note down also, because these numbers will appear again and again. So it will help you. ZX3, LX3. So all parameters now are known with this simple line of code. Now I am coming to the section generating random numbers that follow the log normal distribution with the given parameters. So from here we start the Monte Carlo simulation. So what we are going to do now, the parameter x1 is log normally distributed, correct? Parameter x1 is log normally distributed, right? Now this distribution we know, because we know zeta and lambda, so we know this distribution exactly. Now what we are going to do, we are going to draw the samples. Draw the samples from this distribution. So drawing the samples from distribution, this process is known as Monte Carlo simulation. So we are basically doing a very brute force type of analysis. We are given a distribution. From that distribution we are drawing the samples, right? Now here there are 2-3 things are there which are very important and you should know. The first thing is, in one of the videos yesterday we saw that no man-made machine can generate purely random numbers. No man-made machine can generate purely random numbers. Okay. Man-made machines are capable to generate the pseudo randomness. Pseudo means that will be random, but even those random numbers are also coming from some kind of man-made algorithm. If man has prepared an algorithm or human has prepared an algorithm, it means some kind of knowledge has been used, some kind of initiative has been given, then it cannot be purely random. So all the machines, they are known as pseudo random number generators. This is the first thing. But once we talk about the law of large numbers, although they are pseudo random, they will give the results very close to the actual values. Okay. Now second thing, if you use any machine and if you generate the random numbers, always suppose today I generated 100 random numbers, okay, from this distribution. Tomorrow I generate the 100 random numbers from the same distribution. We will get completely different set every time. So what will happen? Suppose if you run your code today and you calculate the mean value of x1, it will come, say, let's say 1.23. Tomorrow if you run the same code, same machine, the mean value will come out to be 1.53. It does not mean that your code is wrong. It means that machine is by default generating the pseudo random numbers which are changing every time with every kind of simulation. But your results will remain in a certain range. They will not vary much. So practically that is acceptable until unless there is a huge difference. Until unless there is a huge difference, then it means there is some kind of issue. But usually that doesn't happen. Okay, so no need to worry if there is some slight differences are there today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Third thing, you can control your machine so that it gives you same random numbers every day. That is also possible. It will give you random number but same random number. So there are specific commands in all the languages. You can search on Google, find it, use it if you want to have a reproducibility. Otherwise, you can work with the random numbers without reproducibility. There is no issue. Now, we are coming to the So, generating random numbers that follow the log normal distribution with the given parameters. So here I have defined n. N is defining the number of random realizations to be generated. It means I want to generate 1000 random numbers. I have written 1000, 1 because it will generate a 1000, 1 array, single vector. Okay. Then x1. x1 is the vector in which I am going to store those random realizations. So there is a command given log n rnd. Now on Google you can search different there are commands are there, so I'm not going to teach that, but for generating log normal you can use log n rnd. So the command goes like this: log n rnd lx1. So there is a specific syntax to that. lx1 is the lambda, zx1 is zeta, and n how many random numbers you want to generate. So now I'm going to run this one, run section. Okay, now random numbers of x1, x2, x3 are generated. Okay, now let me see what it has generated, how it looks like. x1. So you can see on the screen that an array of x1 has been generated. Let us see what is the size of this array. 1000 cross 1 as we wrote, right? N. It is generated. Now let us calculate the mean value of x1. How much it is coming? 493.33, right? Please note it down. 493.3258. Any issue? That thing I wanted to generate. See, so there are how many machines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 machines are there in this room. Now please tell everyone what number did you get. It is very interesting. 493.32. Tell me. So first my number is 490. I will just write before decimal only. 493. हाँ विवेक तुम्हारा बताओ क्या है? 68.5. That different? No. Okay, let others discuss. 490? 498. Siva? Mahesh? 493, 498. सत्यम, अच्छा तुम तो ओके. क्या हो रहा है? कुछ स्टैटिस्टिक्स टूल बॉक्स इंस्टॉल नहीं है क्या? इफ देर इफ स्टैटिस्टिक्स टूल बॉक्स इज नॉट 504 716. हाँ, so 493. Anyone else? Vivek? You got this, but earlier you were saying 68.
No sir, I forgot to put the time.
So that's why I think same mistake he made. Tell me the answer. अच्छा तूने बता दिया था. 493. More? Anyone else? Anyone else? विवेक क्या हो गया यार? क्या स्टैटिस्टिक टूल बॉक्स इंस्टॉल नहीं है क्या तुम्हारे में? फिर क्या है? तुम्हारा भी आ गया ना? पहले क्या गलती कर दिया था?
पहले गलत रीडिंग.
हाँ देखा यार, तुम डरा दिया. मैंने कहा मेरी थ्योरी गलत हो गई. 490. 493. 498, 490 ये तो गलत है. तुम्हारा ओके यही है, 504 ही आ रहा है ना. तुम्हारा मयंक तुमने 493 बताया था ना. So you can see if you calculate the standard deviation of this is going to be very minimal, even if he is getting 504. So but earlier you were having some error, it was not running.
Sir, I was doing wrong bracket, that's why I was not getting the
ब्रैकेट कहाँ से आ गया? अच्छा, मीन कैलकुलेट करते समय. ओके ओके. So now, so every machine got slightly different answer, right? Now suppose I do the same thing. Now see carefully what I'm going to do. I'm going to run this section once again. Run section. Now I will do again mean of x1. Now I got 505. See, my second round is 505. Now tell everyone. Second round. एक 497. 505. 497. 505. 505. 497. So you can see we did two experiments. One, same machine repeated. Second, different machines same time. You can see the variation is not much, but there is a variation because every time random number is getting generated. Ultimately our conclusion is not going to vary. Ultimately our conclusion is not going to, the statistical inference will not vary. Now, after doing this, now we are going to check the histograms of the random realizations of x1. Now we will make the histogram of x1. So x1 we generated 1000 samples, 1000 realizations. Now we will plot the histogram. So if you run this section, so you get this histogram, see. So just by looking at this histogram, you can realize one thing very interesting. This is looking like a log normal, isn't it? Looking like a log normal. x1, these are the values of the x1, and this is the number of samples or frequency, right? Out of 1000. Out of 1000. So this is giving the histogram, which is looking like a log normal. It is clarifying that indeed the random numbers that were generated, they came from the log normal distribution. Correct? Now I am going to the next step. Comparison of the histograms of the random realizations of x1, x2 and x3. So I will run this section and I got this. Even all of you are getting this, right? So if you see carefully, x1, x2 and x3. So this thing is, I guess, the blue one is because that is the innermost is x1, then second one is x2 and third one is x3. Okay. Now if you see, the idea is all of them are coming from the log normal distribution of different lambda and zeta. But if you notice their lambda and zeta, did you note down? Their lambda and zeta are not much different, isn't it? That's why they are coming very close, but there is a slight difference. Am I right? Okay. Now if you see this blue curve, which is this one, innermost one, I think that is the blue curve, na? This one? This is blue one. Okay, this is innermost is the red one, x2.
Yes.
Okay. Now check the standard deviations of all three. What were the standard deviations of x1, x2, x3? So did you note down? Or I can calculate directly here. A standard deviation of x1 Standard deviation of x2. No need to look in the notes, you can directly calculate here. Standard deviation of x3. So standard deviation is continuously increasing. है? हाँ, अच्छा किसमें? ये कह रहे थे। अच्छा वो फॉन्ट नहीं, अच्छा बड़ा कर दूं, ये कह रही हो? व्यू में आता है ना शायद। अच्छा स्क्रॉल करके नहीं होता, नहीं हो रहा मेरे में। प्रेफरेंस fonts, apply. Okay, this font is okay, huh? Nice. So we can check the histograms of x1, x2, x3. All of them are coming from the log normal distribution. You can check their means, you can check their standard deviation. Okay. Now, fitting the distribution on the samples of x1. Now this is very important. Please listen carefully. You have the data for x1, right? Which came from some kind of pseudo random number generator which gave log normal data of x1. Okay, you remember I taught you to fit the distribution on a given data in one of the class where I discussed goodness of fit test, chi-square statistic. I discussed, right? You remember? There I taught this. Then I also taught MLE approach, maximum likelihood estimator of the distribution parameters. I also taught movement method to calculate the distribution parameters. So now, because here we are just to understand the problem as a whole, if you open the histogram, just now as I have shown, if you open the histogram and suppose no one tells you, someone just enters in the classroom and he sees your histogram directly, and then you ask him, can you tell what kind of distribution will fit to it? If he has attended my lectures of C516 or following the YouTube videos, then he will tell a log normal distribution should fit, right? That's what he will tell, but he does not do because he came late in the class. So now you have to solve this problem from the perspective of that person, that you came late and you saw the histogram, and on that histogram now you have to fit the distribution. By looking at the shape of the histogram, you visualized that it is going to be a log normal. Okay. Now we will fit log normal distribution on those histograms on the data of x1. So in this section, fitting the distribution on the samples of x1. So first of all, I have chosen n bins, number of bins or intervals considered for preparing the histogram. So if you do not give the number of bins, it will take some default value. But now we want to specifically give the number of bins. So if you remember, when we did chi-square test, goodness of fit test, we prepared some intervals, right? We prepared some intervals and we said that it should be more than 5. So here we are taking 100. So it will make some sense. And data is also plenty, 1000 data. So 1000 data you can very easily make 100 bins, not an issue. Okay. So now there is a direct command histfit in MATLAB. There may be equivalent command in Python which fits the distribution x1 on the data of x1 for 100 bins using the log normal, direct standard command. So let us do that. If you run the section, See, you got this thing. If you run this one, so this is the same histogram which you plotted earlier, but now this histogram is with 100 bins. That's why the bin size is smaller and you are seeing thinner bars. And this red curve that you see is the fitted log normal distribution on that data. Correct? Now, estimating the distribution parameters from the samples. It has fitted the distribution. Of course, if it has fitted, it would have calculated somewhere the distribution parameters. What are the distribution parameters of the log normal? Lambda and zeta. Okay. So, using this direct command, log and fit. This command is specific to only log normal distribution. There are similar commands for other distributions also. Okay. Log and fit on this x1, this p hat 1. Why I am writing p hat 1? Because this is estimate, unbiased estimate. It is not the real parameter, estimate based on the data of x1. But earlier that while defining this problem, I gave some parameters initially. Those were the original parameters. I did not write theta hat there. But here I am writing theta hat because I am calculating from the data. Okay. So theta hat, it will give two things. P hat 1 comma 1 will give you, because this will come in the form of an array, it will give you the estimate of lambda and estimate of zeta. Okay. So let's run this section and then we should see what we got. P hat 1. P underscore है देखो. So now your lambda is coming how much? Lambda hat is coming out 6.12 and zeta hat, xi hat 0.47. Now this is for x1. For x1 you already started with some lambda and zeta. What was that? 6.1 103 and 0.4724. You started with this, right? Now you can see very clearly that maximum likelihood method works so well. Someone can get confused that you have solved the same problem, one from this direction. Yes, of course I have solved the same problem, but the approach is different. This time I estimated these parameters from the back calculation. That time I generated the distribution from that side. This shows the efficiency of maximum likelihood method. Inverse modeling, maximum likelihood method, reverse engineering in some sense. So maximum likelihood method, we did it and we found the estimates are so good, 6.12 and 0.47. But you can do experiment. If you reduce from 1000 to 500 and rerun the entire thing, I am sure the quality will reduce. If you increase from 1000 to 10,000, I am sure this may go even closer to 6.103. Okay, in your free time you can do this. Now we are coming to now we will calculate the error in the maximum likelihood estimates. So I know the original values of LX1 and ZX1, and I know the maximum likelihood estimates of LX1 and ZX1. Now I can calculate the percentage error with respect to the original known value. So if you run this section, you will get error 1 as 0.21%, error 2 as minus 0.46%, which is, for engineers, this is not an error. Now, again we are coming to the goodness of fit test, right? Because once you fit the distribution on particular type of data, it has to face the goodness of fit test. So I taught you different kind of test. I taught you only one test, chi-square test, right? So same test I am going to explain here, but there are other tests also you can always find in the manual of the MATLAB. So it is doing a chi-square goodness of fit test. So here this command chi2gof, goodness of fit, it is running on x1, and cumulative density function is defined as for the log normal case. Okay, so if h equal to 1, the test rejects the null hypothesis at the 5% significant level and 0 otherwise. Test rejects the null hypothesis. What does that mean? Test rejects the, what is null hypothesis? No, what was the, so how will you write mathematically the null hypothesis? So in this case, what is your null hypothesis? What is null hypothesis? Okay, alternate. Okay, now let us run this test. And we have to check the value of h. H comes out to be 0. If h is 1, then this is rejected at significance level of 5%, but it is coming out to be 0. It means it is follows at the significance level of 5%. 5% is acceptable in engineering community. At 5% level of significance, your data follows the log normal distribution. You can play with the level of significance also. Now we are coming to the main question. Resulting distribution of S equal to x1 plus x2 plus s3. So now we are preparing the histogram of S. Okay, so x1 is coming from where? Monte Carlo simulations of 1000. x2 is coming from where? Monte Carlo simulation of 1000. x3 is coming from where? Monte Carlo samples of 1000, right? Then here we are generating 1000 samples of S. Now we are preparing the histogram of S. Run section. See. This is something coming out here. Various descriptors of S: mean, standard deviation, skewness and percentile, 50 percentile. PRC TIL gives the 50 percentile. 50 percentile means 50 percentile means
More than 50%.
that is okay, but physically what it gives, that is also physical interpretation, but there is a very simple interpretation which everyone knows. 50 percentile gives what? This is the definition of something I have taught.
Quartile और
नहीं इतना कठिन नहीं है, बहुत सिंपल है।
25% को quartile बोलते हैं।
50% को क्या बोलते हैं? मीडियन। Let us run this one, run section and see. So the first value comes out to be the mean, right? Second, 647 is what? Standard deviation. Third, 1.44 is what? Skewness. And last part is what? Median. Okay. Now, this skewness tells what? This is 1.4, okay. It is positively skewed or negatively skewed? It is positive, so positively skewed. Very simple. Log normal distribution is positively skewed, right? Now, if you increase this number from 1000 to 10,000 and further, this skewness will reduce or increase? Reduce for where? Center what? Zero? Towards zero? Skewness zero? Then? Okay. So, you want to do the experiment? Please do it. All of you do this experiment yourself, DIY. नॉर्मल का स्क्यूनेस क्या होता है? DIY क्या करना होगा? बस आपको एक छोटी सी चीज करनी है, इतना टाइम नहीं लगेगा। देखो, बहुत छोटी सी चीज करनी है। यहां पर लिखना है आपको, देखिए, जब कोड को कहीं बीच में रोकना है, व्हेन यू वांट टू स्टॉप द कोड इन वेरी, जस्ट राइट रिटर्न। द कोड विल नॉट रन बियॉन्ड दिस लाइन। ओके, नाउ यू हैव टू गो वेयर? n. Okay, see on the screen, n. Here you just put one more zero and run this entire code. Run, not run section. It will run, it will do whatever it wants to do. In the end, go to here. The value comes how much? 1 point. Earlier what was the value? 1 point. So it is slowly moving towards normalness, right? It is moving, right? So he was right. It will reduce. Why it will reduce? As you will increase the sample size, it will start following the law of or central limit theorem, and it will go to the normal distribution. You can do it. Now you can do 10,000, 1 million, depending upon the capacity of your RAM, hard drive, whatever. But theoretically it will happen. Now, we again go back, we change it to 1000, okay, and we return here. We don't return here. First we have to run the entire code, because we want to go back to the original state, but we will not be going back to the exactly original state because random numbers are involved, so some results will now change. Okay, run. So something happened. Now I will remove this return and I will see now what I am getting the value of skewness. So now skewness is coming 1.31. See, now it came 1.31. It is playing. Okay. Now sometimes this can be very frustrating also, that your supervisor asked, go and run the simulation. You run the simulation, you got some result and you told something. Then he, no, I don't believe. You bring your laptop, I will run. He run, then some other result. You are telling a lie. No. There are random numbers involved, and every time my machine generates different random numbers, so some variations will come because sir, I did experiment in the class of C516. Now we are going to analyze another function, which question he or they asked in the last class. Now we want to analyze the resulting distribution of, earlier we analyzed the distribution of s equal to x1 plus x2 plus x3. Now we want to analyze the resulting distribution of, what is this function? Just look at this function. आज तो लंबी क्लास वाला है ना डे, आज तो लंबा क्लास वाला डे है। आज कुछ है क्या, क्या है बता, कितने बजे? आज सबमिशन है, क्लास तो नहीं है ना। ठीक है, तो मैं ये वाला एग्जाम्पल, मैं सी व्हाट आई प्लान्ड कि आज मैं 2 एग्जाम्पल करवा देता, क्योंकि लंबा वीकेंड आ रहा है तो तुम लोग वो प्रॉब्लम पे काम करना शुरू कर देते, मैं ये सोच रहा था। लेकिन वो दूसरा एग्जाम्पल हो नहीं पाएगा, वो अपने आप में पूरा एक क्लास लगेगा उसमें। कोई बात नहीं, चलो देखते हैं अभी। ओके, सो रिजल्टिंग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ x1 स्क्वायर माइनस x2 क्यूब डिवाइड बाई 10 to the power 6 x3. This is not a linear function. This is not a linear function. Okay. So will this follow the central limit theorem? No. So yesterday in the class this doubt came that sir, it will always come the normal, right? We'll see. So now I am going to run this section. आता माझी सटकली. This is not. From which angle this is normal? Which angle? No angle. This cannot be normal. So, did I answer the question that was asked in the last class? Okay? Be careful. Life is not always normal. करके देखो, करके देखो, कुछ भी कर लो. See, I have given you the code. Now lab is in your laptop. Keep playing, don't ask. So now this is positively skewed or negatively skewed? अरे तो नॉर्मल नहीं है तो मतलब कि उसका स्क्यूनेस 0 नहीं होगा, तो पॉजिटिवली स्क्यूड होगा या निगेटिवली स्क्यूड होगा. सो इट इज पॉजिटिवली स्क्यूड और निगेटिवली स्क्यूड? आइए देखते हैं. आओ विज्ञान, आओ प्रयोग करके सीखें. रन सेक्शन. निगेटिवली स्क्यूड, highly negative, minus 7.1, highly negatively skewed. It was very obvious in the class, if you remember, and this was negatively skewed, and if you see that shape, it is like this only. Now today everything is there in front of you. Now you can understand these all things. Okay, अब तुम्हारे पास बहाना नहीं बचा कि मुझे ये गणित समझ में नहीं आती, एक्सप्लेन नहीं होती. अब सब एक्सप्लेन होगा अगर क्लास किया है, कोर्स किया है. राइट? नेगेटिवली स्क्यूड फंक्शन. Okay, so now, okay. What I want to do? Okay. So now, first example is completed. You understood. What did you understand? You understood how to generate the random numbers, how to generate the distribution of the function of random numbers, then how to fit the distribution, then how to see the maximum likelihood estimates of the distribution parameters, then how to assess the skewness of the distribution, how to calculate the parameters of the distribution, standard deviation, mean, median, percentile, 50 percentile. So in the question that I have given in the assignment, I have asked which percentile? 95 percentile. So what you will do? In that command, you have to just put 95. And we also studied that chi-square test, whether hypothesis is rejected or accepted at 5% level of significance, right? So all these concepts, whatever I have taught till date, have been covered in this one single example in a very compact way. Okay? Now, we are coming to the, थोड़ी देर और पढ़ा लें, हैं? थोड़ी देर और पढ़ लो. Okay. So, example 2 is actually little difficult example and very important, because till now I discussed just pure mathematics. Now I am going to discuss the civil engineering. Okay. The superstructure and foundation of a high-rise building are designed to withstand the wind-induced pressures. There is a very high-rise building, so wind is coming, it is applying some load on that building. Of course, if the load is being applied on the building, the load will be transferred to the foundation in the form of base shear and base moment. The respective pressure capacities means the pressure that building can sustain or foundation can sustain. Design pressure. You can say design pressure, or you can say the ultimate capacity, are normal variates. These are not deterministic. These are random. Why random? Because building is very long. Lot of material is there. Lot of conditions are there. Lot of uncertainty is there. Foundation is below the ground. Lot of things are involved. Lot of uncertainty are there. So that's why they are considered as normal variates, given as RS. R means capacity, resistance. S means superstructure. Superstructure means which is above the ground. Substructure means which is below the ground. RS is normal distribution with 3.35 and 0.72. So what is 3.35? Mean. 3.35 kPa and 0.72 standard deviation. And RF resistance of the foundation is 2.87 and 0.96 kPa. Okay, normal distribution. The peak wind induced pressure, PW, the peak wind induced pressure. So now, because wind is coming, you have to design, so you have to estimate the peak wind pressure. Wind induced pressure, PW, during a wind storm is calculated using the semi-empirical equation like this. Yesterday, when I was explaining the equation for the pressure of the blast, I gave 2 by z square. That is also a semi-empirical equation. This is also semi-empirical equation, which is like this. Now what is this equation? C is the drag coefficient, which is also a Gaussian variate with this. Gaussian means normal. C is the drag coefficient. It depends upon the shape of the building, whether the building shape is close to the aerodynamic or not. But there is a very long building, different parts are there, so you cannot get a fixed value of C. It will be uncertain, there will be variation. It is giving a normal distribution. Okay. Now V is the maximum wind speed that can occur, and it follows a completely new kind of distribution which I have not discussed so far, but I will discuss now. Type 1 extremal variate, type 1 extreme value distribution. I will discuss, no need to worry. With parameters u equal to 30.5 and alpha equal to 0.37. In that distribution, u and alpha are two parameters. Okay. Now, we can also expect epistemic uncertainties in terms of COV, coefficient of variation, in the mean values of the drag coefficient. So this drag coefficient that C is being used, okay, this mean value is coming from some kind of distribution, but even the mean can be uncertain because of simplifications involved in the model of C. Okay, just like I explained in yesterday's class, that first uncertainty is coming from the third scenario, second uncertainty is coming due to operation. So drag coefficient and wind velocity as 0.3 and 0.15 respectively. In addition to this, there is also uncertainty in PW as 0.2C, because this formula is coming from some kind of equation. So this formula also will have a epistemic uncertainty of 0.20 COV, 20% coefficient of variation. So with all this, now we have to check whether our structure will fail or not fail, and what is the probability of that. That we will solve using the Monte Carlo simulation in the next class. Okay.